Morning. Good morning. We're doing a series on how to create a space for God in our daily life. And so today's and this month's affirmation is, I include God in every aspect of my life and I am blessed. So how are we doing with that this month? Good. So Patrick talked about creating a sacred space in our home last week for a spirit to be. And so today we're going to talk about how to create a space for God within our family. So what is family? Mother, father, brother, sister, grandparents, aunt, uncle, right? That's what we think of when we think of family, right? Our bloodline. Or if we're remarried, we have stepchildren and all that. That's our family. But if we define family, family is a group of things that have a common source. And so, what's our common source? God, right. And what is God? Everybody? Love. Should we try that again? And what is God? Love. So how can we allow love to flow through our family, within our family, surrounding our family? And we really want to talk about divine love, because it may be a little different than our love. So when you think about your family, you think about how much you love your family. We can all think about that, right? We feel our love for our family. But maybe you don't feel so much love for some of your family members. And some family members may be challenging to you because nothing pushes our buttons faster than maybe a child's comment or a parent's comment that throws us off center. But we love them, don't we? But we still can be reactive to the members of our family. And that would maybe look like yelling, maybe a big huff, or, the roll of the eyes if somebody says something, or the biting of the tongue, or the yelling and crying, and maybe walking away. Does that look like God's love? No. And why is that? We come into our family with all these strands of energy that are energy patterns from our DNA, from generations and generations. And in it is our wonderful qualities, our talents that we've inherited that are used to propel our soul's purpose. Also, we have beliefs about love. We have beliefs about money. We have beliefs about how we're to act in the world. We have hurts that might have been passed down. We have pride. We have all these strands like a web of energy, our matrix, like the spider web that we come in with. And it feels a little sticky at sometimes, don't you think? And it's because we have these issues that we've chosen to come in to work and heal. So if anybody might have somebody that might be a little controlling in their family, maybe you chose them because you needed to learn how to gain your own power. If you have someone that might be critical, maybe you need to learn your own worth. If there's always chaos and drama in your family, maybe you're afraid to look at your own purpose, so it keeps you distracted. If there's a neediness, maybe you just need to feel needed. And if there's anger, maybe you need to be able to face your own fear. If there's lack, maybe you need to learn about abundance. And there's all the good stuff that came as well. So let's just take a moment and just shut your eyes just for a minute and just take a look at this. Just picture your family. And picture this web of energy, these strands that you may have brought in, that they might brought in. And just look at what you've chosen for your soul's growth. Look at the group of people that said, yeah, I'll come in and help you with that, with those issues. It's very intricate and beautiful. Can you see how intricate and beautiful it is? If you stand back and look at it? Okay, open your eyes. So we have all this energy around us and within us, creating our family dynamic and how we're to interact with the world. It's like that spider web that you can only see when the light hits it a certain way and it glistens, and so you know to avoid it. But then sometimes you don't see it, you walk through it, and you're in it, and you think you've cleared it off, but there's still some caught between your fingers. So those issues that are just caught between our fingers are there so that we can work on them. They're there so that we can have the opportunity to heal them through love and through God's love. And so what is in God's love? Wisdom, power, beauty, all-knowing. Everything is in God's love. What about our love? What's in our love? Maybe our love is coming from a space of fear or control. I do this because I love you, and I need to maybe control you so you don't make a mistake because I don't want you to get hurt. And I have to do this for you because if you don't do it this way, then I might have to clean up a mess that I'll be responsible for. And I don't want to have to experience that, and I don't want you to have to be hurt because I love you so much and I don't want you to be hurt. So therefore I might do things to protect you because I love you. But that's how we've grown up, isn't it? I mean, that's the conditioning that we love, we do things out of love because maybe it's really because of fear of what will happen, so I have to do things instead of just be. And where is God in all of this? If we are responsible for our loving of our family and maybe controlling a little bit, is there space for God to move through when we're loving each other and telling each other what to do for their own highest good? I'm not saying not to share your wisdom and what God tells you to share with your family, but can you feel the difference when you're in a space of allowing God's love to flow through you versus, well, you're doing it because you love that person? It's a difference, isn't it? And I think one of the hardest things to do is to allow our children the opportunity to experience what they need to experience. And I think, just me personally, I still can be a little reactive out of fear or worry, but I'm working on it. So my son, who's 22, moved out last year. He's working, he's going to school. And I was very excited for him to move out, and I always thought of Chris as God's child. He's always been God's child. And so I felt good with that. And so he probably wasn't out of the house for 2 weeks. And he calls and he says, "Guess what, Mom?" I said, "What?" He goes, "I got a puppy." And so my mind goes, why on earth would you get a puppy? He lives with his roommate that has a German Shepherd already, and they're in an apartment. And I'm going, why would you want a responsibility of taking care of something? You just moved out, you should be free. I didn't say that, but in my mind I'm saying that. So I only could repeat what he was telling me because I was trying not to react. So you got a puppy. I got a German Shepherd. A German Shepherd! It was only $50. Today, it's only $50. What about the food? What about replacing the carpet? What about the shots? It's only great. She had all her shots. Great. And I really don't know what I said because I was trying not to go, why on earth would you do that? Why would you pick up another expense? And why would you have something that you'd have to run home to and take care of when you just got to be free. And I said, that's great. Okay. So we hung up, and then, of course, I vented to John everything I was just saying. But I had to allow him to have that choice. He grew up with dogs at his dad's house. Obviously, his web of energy is different than my web of energy, because when I left the house, I would not want to get a dog. So when he left the house, maybe he wanted to feel responsible. Maybe he just wanted that love. I don't know why, but he's enjoying it, and I don't call him every day and say, do you have enough food for that dog? Do we have to replace that carpet yet, or any furniture? I don't call him and make sure that everything is being taken care of, so I don't have to run over there and fix stuff. So I just say that's great. And he's been fine, and he loves the dog, and they're just, it's his experience. But do you see how, and is it any big deal that he got a dog? No. Do you see how we react to the silliest little things because we love them? And so then I realized that, I always thought of Chris as God's child. When you think of God's child, that means that, God's going to take care of them. God's going to take care of them. But then I started thinking of him as a child of God. Can you hear the difference? A child of God has all the power of God. God's child, when we say, you're God's child, I know you'll be okay. Child of God has all the qualities of God. Can move through them. So that was a big shift for me to start thinking of him as a child of God. I just want to read something from the prophet. You guys may be familiar with it. That spoke to me. It said, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. For they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, and his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. And I thought that it painted a beautiful picture of us being a bow. We're bending, opening, versus controlling. To allow, we're opening as that bow that arches back, to allow God to blow through. So even if you don't have children, we all have parents. And our parents are children of God as well, aren't they? And as they age, we start feeling responsible for them and taking care of them. So my mom had some challenges and had surgeries on her leg and had problems for years, and she was in and out of the hospital every other month a couple years ago. And I don't know how many people said, you need to go up there and take her to a different doctor. You need to go up there, because she lives in Massachusetts, you need to go up there and bring her someplace else. And I suggested maybe she wanted to look at different options, but she was going to do what she was going to do. And then she had to end up having her lower leg amputated. And people said, you need to go up there and take care of that. But she didn't want me to come up there and take care of that. So I had to ask her what she wanted. She wanted to be able to live on her own. She got married at 17, had my brother when she was 18, had me later. After my dad died, she lived with my uncle. She'd never been on her own. Well, she wanted to live in an apartment. I wanted her to be in assisted living so that she would get care. Nice, we went and looked at it. It's a nice facility, activities, very nice. No, she wanted to be on her own. Well, okay. So, amazingly, something opened up. She lives by herself in an apartment. She gets around. She's happy. She's the happiest I've ever known her. And people would say, you need to go up there and take care of that. But that's not what she wanted. She is finding her way. She's working with her doctors, and she is happy. She still has challenges, but I've never seen her so happy. And she's on her own and fulfilling what her soul needed to for her. I can't run in. God didn't tell me. People were telling me. But God didn't say, go up there and do this. So when we were growing up, did our parents ever say, I know you'll make the best decisions for your soul's growth? No. Maybe Cindy did to David, I'm sure, but did we hear that? No. If we allow God's love to move through us, we need to let it move without understanding. There's no way we can wrap our head around everything because God's love allows. It frees us from the stickiness of that web, and it lets us fulfill the commitment to those issues that we brought in. And it allows us to get the blessings from the patterns that we brought in, that we came to heal. So we need to be accepting and allowing, just like the songs we sing, seeing the Christ in others. She is also a child of God with all the power and qualities of God. And as I see her as that quickens her to be on purpose with her soul, to demonstrate being a child of God. So if we started seeing each of our family members as a child of God, maybe not God's children, our family dynamic would probably change. Jesus said, we cannot look upon a single span of life and judge anything. Men are underlying parts of the eternal whole that come and go, though many times into the air of earth and the great beyond, just to unfold the godlike self. So we have to allow our family members to be able to unfold their godlike self. And as we allow that for them, we're able to allow God to move through us and be on our path. In the Aquarian, chapter 106, Jesus talks about family. Jesus and the disciples and the foreign masters had been out teaching and healing, and Jesus had just healed a obsessed man that was deaf and dumb, and the Pharisees are now questioning him, his power, and so Jesus is laying some truth on them. And then a messenger comes to Jesus and says, your mother and your brothers wish to speak with you. And Jesus says, who is my mother and my brothers? Who are they? When I first read that, I went, And then he spoke a word aside to the foreign masters and the 12, and he said, behold, men recognize their mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers here in flesh. But when the veil is rent and men walk in the realms of soul, the tender lines of love that bind the groups of fleshly kin and families will fade away. Not that love for anyone will be less, but men will see in all the motherhood, the fatherhood, the sisterhood, the brotherhood of man. The family groups of earth will all be lost in universal love and fellowship divine. Then to the multitudes he said, whoever lives the life and does the will of God is child of God, and is my mother, father, sister, friend. And then he went to talk to his earthly kin. So just breathe that in. Who is my family? All of us have the common source, God. If we can, in any moment, in dealing and being and loving with our families, if we can breathe and just see and allow God to move through, ask for God to move through to your family, move through you to them, create a space that allows God to move within your family, allowing each person to unfold their godlike self. And a lot of times we don't understand, and we have to not try and wrap our mind around it, but just do it from our heart, in that knowing and that trusting that in God's love everything exists. And right now my love is a little limited, but we're working on being more like God's love. And so the more we open to feel God's love and to feel what it's like to be accepting, then we'll be lifting into that. And isn't that what Jesus did? He saw the Christ in all. He came and shared God's love and allowed God's love to flow and move through all the people that he talked with and healed. It sounds simple, doesn't it? It's simple. And it can be easy. Do we want to go in and try and make it a little easier? Okay. So just put your feet on the ground and sit up in your chair and just take a nice deep breath. And just feel God's love once again. Ask to feel divine love move through you. And I want you to picture your family. Picture your family web. The web around you. The sparkling web around all your family members. And seeing all that sparkly energy that's connecting you, that's woven through your family matrix. And now if you could just turn and face each family member and see those strings that attach you to them. And just allow God's love, divine love, to flow through you to them. Look in their eyes and see them as that awesome child of God, having all the qualities of God. That they're here to fulfill, to heal patterns, to fulfill their own soul's growth, that we really have no idea of what that looks like. And even if we may not choose what they choose, we allow them to have that experience. And just allow that love, just feel that allowing energy moving to each family member. And as you do that, you should be able to feel your energy greater, releasing the ties and the stickiness that maybe you came in with, but now they've been transmuted. And the patterns can shift and change into a higher level of service and fulfillment. And feel their gratitude as you're doing that. And God, I ask that you bless each family member. We know that your love and light surrounds them, and that their life is perfect for what they've chosen. And I ask that we feel divine love and be divine love. That we may use all this energy in fulfilling our soul's destiny. In seeing the oneness of the family of man. And just take a nice deep breath and just see your family being lifted in the light. Feeling free and light. And just feel your heart. And allow a space that you'll always let God's love to flow through. that we will work on it each day. To be love, to be the Christ. And we are grateful, God. And just take a nice deep breath. And just feel your energy, feel how it feels. Bring your attention back to your seat. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. How did that feel? Did it feel light? So this week, as we go forth, trying to include God in our daily lives, if we could just remember that we are all children of God and see each other as that, so that those ties just melt away and we can all live in that oneness and flow, bringing heaven on earth. Yea, God.
Yea, God.